Good morning, dear students of class 8. Welcome to this English online class. We are going to take up from Henny Dew, chapter 4, Bepin Chaudhary's Lapse of Memory. So today we are going to take up part 2. So in part 1, we discussed how Bepin Chaudhary, he would drop at Kalicharan's book stall and he would buy from there books, and he would buy at least 5 books at a time, and the next week again he would come to buy 5 books. He was a very good reader. He lived all alone. He did not like mixing with people. He did not have friends. He did not like talking uselessly. But that day, when he was at the bookstall, Kalicharan's bookstall, he saw that someone was looking at him and trying to give him a smile. Bipin Babu said, "I think I'm not able to recognize you. Have we met before?" Because this man was saying that, "Have you recognized me?" So Bipin Babu said that, "Did we meet before?" The man said that we have not only met for few moments, we have met every day for a whole week. And I even arranged for you a car to take you to the Hudro Hills. And he gave him the year 1958 Ranchi. And he said, "My name is Parimal Ghosh." Now Bipin Babu wondered because he had never been to Ranchi. And then he said, "Do you know me? Who I am?" And this man Parimal Ghosh said that, "Who doesn't know about you?" But then Bipin Babu was not ready to agree. He said that, "I have never been to Ranchi." Now he started giving him details of his life. He said, "When you went to Hudro, you had a fall and you cut your right knee. And I had also booked a car for you so that you could go to Netrahat. But because of the pain, you did not go. Then at that time, there was one another person with you, Mr. Dinesh Mukherjee. And because you didn't like staying in hotel, because you did not like hotel food, you said you would stay in a bungalow. And Mr. Mukherjee stayed with his sister. You had a big argument with Mr. Mukherjee about moon landing." And then Bipin Babu was very much puzzled. He said, "Can you tell me the month in 1958? He said, "Yes, the month is October." But Bipin Babu was not in Ranchi in October as far as he remembered. He was in Kanpur with his friend to celebrate Puja. So he said to Parimal that, "You are making a big mistake." But then Parimal said, "Very strange. I had tea with you in the veranda where you spoke about your family. You said you had no children. Your wife died 10 years ago and you had only brother who died insane because of mental illness. And that is why you did not like to visit the mental hospital." Bipin Babu now made the payment for the books and he left the shop. The man was still looking at him in utter disbelief, complete surprise as to how this man, Bipin Babu, is not able to recognize him. Now we are going to take up part 2 of this lesson today. Bipin Babu's car was safely parked in Betram Street by the Lighthouse Cinema. He told the driver as he got into the car, "Just drive by the Ganga, will you, Sitaram?" Driving up the Strand Road, Bipin Babu regretted having paid so much attention to the intruder. Intruder means stranger. He did not know Parimal Ghosh, and his mind was still bothered about this man and about his Ranchi trip. He had never been to Ranchi, no question about it. It was inconceivable that he should forget such an incident which took place 6 or 7 years ago. How can he forget an incident of his life which had only taken place 6 or 7 years ago? And he was very proud of his good memory. Memory is ability to remember things. Unless Bipin Babu's head reeled. Now his head started reeling. He was shocked, he was confused. Was he losing his mind? Now he started becoming scared. Is he becoming mad? But how could that be? He was working daily in his office. It was a big firm and he was doing a responsible job. He wasn't aware of anything ever going seriously wrong. Only today he spoke half an hour at an important meeting, and yet now he was so much troubled that he started thinking that is there any problem with him? He is forgetting things. But he was working in an office the whole day and he was taking meetings and he was doing perfectly all right. And yet the man knew a great deal about him. Again he started thinking how this man was knowing intimate details, means personal, private details about his life. The bag of books, wife's death, brother's insanity, madness. The only mistake was about his having gone to Ranchi. Everything he was saying right. But one mistake he was making, that is, he met him in Ranchi. He has never been to Ranchi. Not a mistake, a deliberate lie. He's not making a mistake. He's lying. In 1958, during the pujas, he was in Kanpur at his friend Haridas Bagchi's place. All Bipin Babu had to do was to write to. No, there was no way of writing to Haridas. Bipin Babu suddenly remembered. Haridas had left with his wife for Japan some weeks ago and he didn't have his address. So Haridas could not be contacted because he had gone with his wife to Japan and he did not know his address in Japan. But where was the need for proof? He himself was fully aware that he hadn't been to Ranchi, and that was that. So there was no need to ask anyone because he had never been to Ranchi. The river breeze was bracing and yet a slight discomfort lingered in Bipin Babu's mind. So fresh breeze of the river, it was blowing, but still Bipin Babu, instead of becoming fresh, was becoming bothered, was feeling lot of discomfort. Around Hastings, Bipin Babu decided to roll up his trousers and take a look at his right knee. He wanted to see whether he has got a cut or not. There was the mark of an old inch long cut. Yes, there was a mark of an old cut. It was impossible to tell when the injury had occurred. He couldn't remember when he got this injury. Had he never had a fall as a boy and cut his knee? He tried to recall such an incident but couldn't. As a boy, did he fell down and got his knee cut? Was there a cut in his knee? No, he could not recall that incident. Then Bipin Babu suddenly thought of Dinesh Mukherjee. The man had said Dinesh was in Ranchi at the same time. Yes, he could contact Dinesh Mukherjee because at that time this man Parimal Ghosh had said that Dinesh Mukherjee was in Ranchi. The best thing surely would be to ask him. He lived quite near in Bedi Nandan Street. What about going right now? But then, if he had really never been to Ranchi, what would Dinesh think if Bipin Babu asked for confirmation? Now, if Dinesh had also not been to Ranchi. It would be so foolish on Bipin Babu's part to ask for any kind of confirmation. He would probably conclude Bipin was going nuts. He would think that Bipin was going mad. No, it would be ridiculous to ask him. So he thought it would be very funny to ask him. It would be foolish rather to ask him. And he knew how ruthless Dinesh's sarcasm could be. At times, Dinesh could be very sarcastic, cruel also, ruthless also in his sarcastic comments. Sipping a cold drink in his air-conditioned living room. So he had reached his house and he was enjoying a cold drink. Bipin Babu felt at ease. When he reached home, he had a cold drink and he felt better. Such a nuisance. Just because they have nothing else to do, they go about getting into other people's hair. So he is referring to whom? He is referring to Parimal Ghosh. And because these people are idle, they don't have anything else to do, they start interfering in other people's matter. After dinner, snuggling in bed with one of the new thrillers, Bipin Babu forgot all about the man in Newmarket. So he was enjoying his reading of the new book that he had purchased, the new thriller, and he also forgot about this man Parimal Ghosh. Next day in the office, Bipin Babu noticed that with every passing hour, the previous day's encounter was occupying more and more of his mind. So again, he was reminded of Parimal Ghosh and about his trip to Ranchi. If the man knew so much about Bipin Babu, how could he make such a mistake about his Ranchi trip? Just before lunch, Bipin Babu decided to ring up Dinesh Mukherjee. So he decided to take confirmation from Dinesh Mukherjee. It was better to settle the question over the phone. Instead of meeting him, it would be good to talk and settle the matter on phone. At least the embarrassment on his face would not show. 235616. So he is calling his number, dialing his number. Hello, is that Dinesh? This is Bipin here. Well, what's the news? I just wanted to find out if you recalled an incident which took place in 1958. 58? What incident? Were you in Calcutta right through that year? That's the first thing I've got to know. Wait, just a minute. 1958? Let me check in my diary. So, Dinesh Mukherjee said, just wait a minute. Now I will check in my diary. When he tried to find out that were you in Calcutta when throughout the year, that is Bipin Babu is asking for confirmation. For a minute there was silence. Bipin Babu could feel that his heartbeat had gone up. He was sweating a little. Hello, yes, I've got it. I had been out twice. Where? Once in February, nearby to Krishnanagar to a nephew's wedding. And then, but you know about this one, the trip to Ranchi. You were there too. That's all. But that's what is this sleuthing about? So he said, yes, I went to Krishnanagar in February. He checked his diary and then he said, I went to Ranchi. But you're forgetting, you were also there. Now tell me why you are investigating now. Sleuthing means investigating, means inquiring. No, I just wanted to. Anyway, thanks. So Bipin Babu, he put down the receiver saying, thanks, I just wanted to know. So even Dinesh was saying that he had been to Ranchi, whereas Bipin Babu had completely forgotten about his Ranchi trip. Bipin Babu slammed the receiver and gripped his hand with his head with his hands. Now he was extremely puzzled. He felt that his head was swimming. A chill seemed to spread over his body. There were sandwiches in his tiffin box, but he didn't eat them. He had lost his appetite. So we'll stop here and we'll continue with part 3.